Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me for the full moon in Gemini, which is occurring on December 3rd, 2017, 10:47 a.m. Eastern Time, but times will vary. So here it is. It's the full moon in Gemini, and of course it's opposed to the Sun. That's where the action is. This is where the action is. We've got the Sun, the Venus, Saturn, and Mercury are still there, and we've got this big, intense stellium up there in Sagittarius. But I don't even feel that intense about it. I feel like this is going to really add some lightheartedness to the whole affair. It's going to change the vibe somewhat to all this serious stuff that we've been kind of in here for a while. Yeah, Jupiter's been in Scorpio, so it's been wanting to go into the deep. Also at 11 degrees. There's not a there's like an inconjunct, but then we've got Jupiter trining Neptune at 11 degrees, and that's a square. So this Neptune and Jupiter are also very much involved at this 11 degrees. And of course we've got all the 11s, 11, 11, 11, 11. So we all know that that is magical as well. But that's what I feel. I feel when I just on an overall, when I open it up and look at it, I get that it's magical. I get that it's magic can happen at this time. The full moon is always a point of awareness. The full moon in Gemini is our mental things, how we think of things, how we rationalize, think of things. And that's kind of what I get, because we've got Jupiter here going, we're getting into this Jupiter in Scorpio now, and all this sex stuff is coming out. We talked about the sexual predator stuff, and it's all coming out, coming out, coming out. It's getting pretty dark and kind of serious, And, we could use a break from that. We could use a little bit of lightheartedness. And Jupiter is trining Neptune. That's really sweet. Jupiter and Neptune together, that is very magical. That is very much, it's the water signs in Scorpio and Pisces in particular are about things that aren't there, it's not, the earth is 3D reality, the earth. And then the water signs is our spirit. It's our psychological things. It's it's out of the realm of Earth, but it's in harmony with Earth. But it's kind of not quite in the Earth plane when you're with the water, especially the Pisces energy. That in particular, that's very much not quite in the reality. So with the trine to Jupiter and the positive side of the Neptunian energy of imagination, inspiration, transcendentalism, transcending, the reality, connecting with higher sources and spirit and everything. I mean, it could just really be some magical, inspirational things could come through. And you might be saying, well, that's great for you, but I'm not creative. I hear that all the time. You relate everything to art and creativity. And, we all tend to do that. We all tend to come from our, view life through our lenses. But it could be a lot of things. With this Scorpio, this could be like some deep, dark psychological stuff that you've been dealing with. Or, these, I want to talk about the Saturn still squaring the Chiron, and Mercury's up there too, because we've been, with the Scorpio energy and this stuff going on, we've been digging down. This deep, deep stuff has been just coming up. They're showing me like it's seeping out of our pores. It's just coming out of us. And it can be a lot overwhelming, and it can be a lot to deal with. And the full moon in Gemini, I think, is going to allow us to wrap our heads around it a little, to reconcile with a lot of this stuff, to grasp some kind of understanding of it. And that's true as well, because the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is the ruler of Gemini, is up here. And you can see that little chart. I pasted it in now so everybody can see it. It's up here just with Saturn and square the Chiron, just came off of this galactic center. So again, it's these higher forces in the sign of Sag. It's the higher forces of the conjunction to the galactic center, and the Chiron is this Pisces deep stuff, and the Mercury being there can help us to have some kind of understanding, to rationalize, to verbalize it. Because sometimes, I think we're all in touch with these magical forces. We all, we're in this soup of the Earth's atmosphere, and it's here, it's palpable, it's here, and We all feel it. We all experience it to different degrees, but the trick is to be able to verbalize it. The trick is to be able to either create it into, a piece of art, maybe, for inspiration, or to verbalize whatever we're picking up. But it can also be to get your mental mind wrapped around your deep emotional things. We've been in some deep waters here. We've been in some deep waters, and it's been very murky at times. Very murky. This is going to lighten it up. This is going to help. The Mercury coming past this Saturn in the galactic center kicks it off, and then this full moon just gives it an extra little boost there. Mercury is retrograding too, is it not? Yeah, it's retrograding. I think it goes retrograde. I don't have this year's book handy, but it's like right that day or the next day or something. So it's pretty much, stationary. Stopped. Well, here, look here. Yeah, it's 004. That's what this is about. These are the speeds that the planets are traveling. So it's stopped. When it's at 0, it's pretty much stopped, okay? So it's stopped, and it's turned retrograde. It's just turned retrograde. And at 29 degrees. So that's also this karmic cycle. So there's still this heavy karma stuff. Saturn's in there with this galactic center, about to go to 29, Saturn's going to make the big move into Capricorn, which I think I'm pretty happy about that. But so there's this, this deep karmic stuff that we're all dealing with. And that's not surprising at the holidays. I mean, we see these people. Who do we have the most karmic stuff with? Hello, our family, right? Most of us, our family, our places of origin, how we were raised, and around the holidays, these things come up. These traditions, these family traditions. There's things that, we were probably raised with, but we don't incorporate into our own life now. If you're an adult on your own, you don't incorporate that. But when it comes around to these holiday seasons, you're drawn back into that. And a lot of times, some of them are very beautiful traditions, maybe possibly making cookies, or a lot of revolves around food and stuff. But some of it brings up the damage that was done to you. I mean, really, a lot of people go through some psychological stuff around the holidays, And then that's not even talking about, Jupiter's in Scorpio. This is my big thing in the holiday, is that most of my family, my immediate family are all dead, been for a long time. I mean, I have my own kids, but it still is it's still really hard for me at the holidays, And here it is, it's like going to be 13 years since the last family member, since they've all been dead. They all died real quickly. And the last one died January 1st of 2004, and it's still, and you never know. Last year I was in the grocery store. I thought I was doing pretty good. I thought I wasn't going to be sad, and I'm in the grocery store, and this song comes on, the music, and I'm breaking down crying in the frozen food section. So it just this stuff just, it really comes up around this time of year, with or without these aspects. This year is a little bit more intense because we've got these aspects, and that's just my thing. It could be so many things. Maybe you're not missing them. Maybe you're dreading having to see them. Maybe it's, there's so many things. But it's time to reevaluate, because Saturn is all about restrictions, and it's like the parental. It's the father usually in the, but it can flip. But we'll just, for simplicity, let's just say Saturn's the father in your chart usually. And and who was the authoritarian? It's the authoritarian in the household, basically, growing up. So who was the authoritarian? What kind of stuff did they lay on you? What kind of structure did you grow up in? That with Sagittarius energy, that's Jupiter's ruler, that no longer suits you. It just doesn't suit you anymore. It's not who you are. How has it messed you up? Because, we've all been messed up. we probably messed our own kids up to some degree. I mean, no parents, well, maybe I can't say no, but most parents aren't setting out to say, how can I mess up my kids? Most parents want, they love their kids, and they want to do the best by them, and they want to try to help them and whatever. But the Saturn is this pattern, these patterns. Though that's how I was raised. So this is what I did, and my dad was strict with me, or the strictness, the authoritarian, the father, traditionally the father figure in the family, and it goes back generations and generations, and it's karmic that way. That's how we get into the karmic cycles. It doesn't have to be past lives. It can be generational, and this is the time of year that this stuff comes to the surface, comes to a head. So here comes this full moon in Gemini, and it's so light. It's so nice, and it's so light. And we got the Jupiter trine Neptune. It's so light. By going within is the only way that any of this is resolved. Any of it, no matter what the spectrum is. With Jupiter and Scorpio, it can be sexual abuse too. Absolutely. And it might not have been your father. I mean, we all know that there was a lot of abuse in religious organizations and whoever. That could come up right now. That could come up, and I'm feeling like, somebody out there is like crying and saying, yeah, why didn't you protect me? They wanted their father to protect them or something. So, there's all this, I just got chills all down my body. So that's a message for somebody. So why didn't you protect me? Why didn't you, Chiron, I'm so wounded, I'm such a victim. Well, this is the time to have some understanding about it. And try to forgive, because by carrying it, it's only you're only carrying it, you're only weighting yourself down with this burden, And with Saturn in the galactic center, we could absolutely get some downloads, and with Mercury there helping it along, we get downloads all the time. But again, we don't know how to verbalize them. We don't know how to we don't know how to rationalize them. We can't really comprehend it. It's kind of always there, but we just are so busy with our lives. We're so in the Mercury vibration all the time. Everybody is. With your smartphones, you always got your head in your smartphone, and your emails, and your texting, and your social media, and it's your to-do list. Maybe that's more Virgo, but still, it's this mental busyness is what I'm getting to. We're always so mentally busy that we may not feel this. We may not. I think we still feel it, but we may not acknowledge it. We may not interact with it. Some people just don't even interact with it. It's all about what they can. It's all in the mind and what they can see right in front of them. Third house also, real quick, is siblings. So this could have to do with siblings, but I'm feeling like it's just lighthearted and it's good. Creativity is off the hook, people. Jupiter trine Neptune, and then the other thing is the Uranus. This Saturn is trining with this long-term aspect with the Uranus, and Pallas is in there. So Pallas and Uranus together is just crazy downloads from the universe, inspiration, moving forward. It's just crazy. And then it's trining this Saturn again, where these downloads are coming. So, with our mental minds, with this full moon in Gemini, with our mental minds, I feel like we could direct our mental minds when all this hurt comes up. Yeah, we got to feel it, we got to deal with it. But instead of start going down I was going to say rabbit hole, but it's more like the toilet bowl. There it is. Flush. We could go down into the depths of depression and da-da-da-da-da. Or we could make a choice with our mind. With Mercury and the full moon in Gemini, we make a mental choice. And we say, no, I want to do better. I want to go to the next level. I want to move forward. I am not a prisoner of whatever was laid on me, or whatever was, whatever my past is, however I was victimized or hurt. I'm not a prisoner of that. And with the Mercury too, could be a lot more, speaking out. Sometimes through speaking out is how it's freeing for people. And that's been a thing that's been going on. But it doesn't feel real dark to me. It feels like being happy, proactive, freed. Do you make the decision, whatever action you need to take, whether it's speaking out or writing a letter, all that would be beneficial with the Mercury. Ultimately, it's about this freedom. ultimately it's about ideas and inspiration. Off the chart with that, man. Off the chart. Oppose Mars. Put it into physical. Now, Uranus-Mars can be kind of volatile, you know. So if you don't want to go to that Aquarian level, the Aquarian level is a higher level. Aquarian energy, I showed you that last time. It's almost like E.T. It's definitely, again, not of this world. So if you don't want to go there or embrace it, you could. This is a lot of energy. It could, Mars opposed. It could come out in anger, aggression, blaming. That's a biggie there. And Mars in Libra, in a negative way, is verbal. It can be really verbally, and it could fall into it's verbal. It's air sign. It's verbal, but ultimately, Libra wants balance, wants harmony. Its ruler is Venus. Venus is in a loose orb opposition to the moon. So we're going to embrace that Venus energy. But there was something else I was wanting before I lose it. What was I talking about with this? Well, with the Mars, you could be proactive. The Mars has to express itself. It wants to be proactive through Venusian things. Again, creativity. And if you're not creative, there's so many ways that you can do it. With this Mercury, this would be a great time for writing down things. Even if you never write a letter to somebody, even if you write a letter to your parents or whoever who are not with you anymore, even if you don't send it, just write it. Write down your feelings, and it sounds so cliche, and it's just like, yeah, write down your feelings, whatever, But it really does help to write things out, and it really does help for magic. And this is very, very magical. And with this trine to the galactic center and Uranus being involved, higher forces, that I believe it's connected to the angelic realm as well, Angels, by definitions, are ETs. They're not of this world, right? I mean, you don't have to group them together if you don't want to, but I realized that when I was like in, catechism, 5th or 6th grade or something. It's like, well, angels aren't of this world, so wouldn't they be an extraterrestrial? And of course, the nuns didn't want to hear that one. But anyways, no offense against the nuns. I'm not trying to rag on the nuns at all. I knew some really beautiful spirits who were nuns. But, it's these higher realms. There's higher realms of all sorts of higher realms. Okay. What else do we want to look at here? The nodes. We got the trine here. Isn't Pluto doing something? No, it doesn't look like Pluto's doing something. Neptune's making a square to that moon. Venus conjunct MC, that's irrelevant. Uranus trine Mercury. Yeah, and it's trine the Mercury too. So again, this communication. You could surprise yourself, man. That's why journaling and stuff, just start writing, just start talking. Sometimes I start talking in these videos and I surprise, like, whoa, where did that come from? You could surprise yourself, but not by suppressing or turning it to anger or turning it to inward to victim. With Mercury, it's outward expression, but it's peaceful expression too. It's also traveling, short distance traveling, neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings. There's a lot of things that Mercury and Gemini. The reason I keep saying Mercury is because, of course, it's Gemini and Mercury, same rulership here. These are all things of the Gemini nature. I just feel like it's really favorable, especially because the Sun is about to conjunct Venus too. And this is the house of higher knowledge. There's it's a Gemini full moon, yeah, but the concentration here it's in Sagittarius. And this is all about the higher mind. This is about spiritual growth. This is about going beyond the third house. I only deal with things that I understand, things that I can wrap my head around. I don't believe in any of it. Well, I think most people watching this video probably believe in that stuff, but there's people out there that, are like that. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I only believe what I can see right here, and I want proof. But that's the other thing, because it's squaring the Neptune. The proof is getting so murky these days, It used to be, you could look it up, and that was it. And now, it's just so, And that's Uranus too. Maybe somebody under this aspect will come up with a way to like quickly fact check or something. Because, of course there is Snopes and different things, but it takes a while for them to catch up a lot. If something new comes out, it isn't always on Snopes right away. But maybe this could be a way somebody could come up with an idea or to where we could really stop, how much time did we waste, weeding through all the fake crap that's out there, and the manipulations of the media and everything like that. Speaking of, I talk about this from time to time. It's one of my things I notice with the Neptune and everything. The music, and I've, if I'm home, I've been laid up with the hand now, and I've been home again and doing stuff at the house. And, you turn the TV on, try to skip the commercials, but it's all this sick, 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 you're sick. They play happy music, which we're programmed to believe is happy, or this is something we want to go towards, and then they, lay it on you. May cause blah, 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 your ears to fall off. Here's a thing that I noticed. It was really maybe a little off topic, but talking about Neptune, and this is all TV, media, and everything too, with this whole T-square here. Watching the BBC the other day. It was a Star Trek marathon, so I'm watching that. And the commercials, I didn't see one commercial for drug companies, and you're sick, and this is the drug you need, and blah, 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 blah. And it was stuff about pets and stuff about Oprah's new food line. And I was like, these are things that I'm actually kind of interested in. And I don't really mind watching an ad for it, And it was very noticeable to me pretty quickly. And then it's like, oh, wow, that's because in Britain they don't have health care for profit. Hello, So what, they don't need to be constantly pushing these drugs and trying to program you that you're sick, you're sick. These were things that I'm interested in. The commercials were actually, hey, I might check that out. That looks kind of fun for my dog. I might check that out. It was actually something that I could be interested in. And I don't even mind watching ads for stuff that I might be interested in. But on regular American TV, and I try to DVR everything and fast forward it through, I know, and don't watch it, I know. But there's a few shows. In the fall, my DVR kicks in, and all of a sudden I've got all these shows recording, whether I have the TV on or not, so I start going through and clearing them out, especially if I'm home late up. But that message of, oh, do you have, well, this is what you need, and they're playing these happy music. I mean, it's blatant. It's so blatant. And Uranus, we need to work on that and do something about that. And if you ever watch the BBC, it was just like, wow. I mean, 1.5 hour episode of Star Trek, and I'm like, God, I don't have to worry about the commercials. I'm actually, oh, look at that. That looks kind of cool. It was stuff that I was actually interested in, and it didn't, I wasn't like this ominous, it's so sneaky the way they do it. They try to lull you in with the happy music. I mean, it's insane. And I feel like a lot of people aren't even, really realizing, that there's this whole psychological thing going on with the happy music and the music from our youth to lure us in. And this is all Neptune too, and Mercury and technology. So maybe we could start having some breakthroughs with that, What else is going on here? I keep wanting to come back to this Pluto. What is it hitting? It's not hitting any. Oh, it's in with the nodes now. Oh. So Pluto's in with the nodes. And Ceres is conjunct the North Node here. Well, when I said that, oh ho ho, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. But anyways, when I said that, what I thought of is jumping timelines, shifting timelines. Because Pluto is death and rebirth, big change. And the nodes, of course, is kind of like, I relate it to our timelines that we're on. And this is that in conjunct, or that odd aspect, which you have to make an adjustment. And Pluto's usually not, sorry about the dryer's going off down there. Sorry, the reading's not over. It doesn't have to be. It'll be over soon, but that's not my timer. It's the dryer close. But anyways, back to this. Pluto, it's usually not it wouldn't be a small thing. Pluto's usually a pretty big thing. So with the alignment with the galactic center, Pluto's alignment with the nodes, we can really make a big shift at this time. Also, well, I'll probably talk about that more, but we're coming up when Saturn goes into Capricorn right by the solstice. That's also going to be a big shift point here too. But in the meantime, while it's still slightly in orb with the galactic center, of course I believe Mercury will probably go back over in retrograde and hit that galactic center. This would be the time to idealize it, to have the insights, to have the downloads. And then I want to say, then when Saturn goes into Capricorn and we hit up with that, the solstice point, then this shift can really occur. This is almost like a glimpse of it, could be. Like a glimpse of some different possibilities. Where Leo, where we respect ourselves, where we're happy, where our lives are happy, not caught in misery, where we have a lot of self-love and doing things we can be proud of, being proud of our actions, not feeling shame and guilt and things like that. Alright, hey everybody, I want to let you know I have the year ahead readings available for a short time. You can find all that on my site. If you're interested in astrology, I do have these Tapestry of Life mandalas. This is based on your chart, and I do a little bit of a reading of my impressions while I'm creating them. Here's the year ahead reading. You get, I do your numerology with your tarot card. I do the little bit of astrology, just some of the big shifts. Tarot and an animal totem, only available until January. It will be discontinued. And then, of course, as always, a t-shirt. If you click on this big banner at the bottom of the page, it's under the art section. Then it does take you over to Amazon, and you can see a listing of all of the shirts. I've been adding some new ones. Oh, this is kind of astrology related. I just added this new one. I have this in a bunch of colors, but they limit your uploading. But this is the moon phases. This is one of the new ones that I've put up recently. So check it out if you feel like make great gift ideas. If you order a shirt, be sure that you do order one size larger because they run small. But everything that you do to help me, it can all be found on my website. And that helps me keep doing these free readings for you. I do the astrology ones a couple times a month, and then I do, of course, the 12 signs with the tarot reading. So this is it, the new moon in Sag. I feel magical, I feel lighthearted, I feel tying up these loose ends of this karmic thing, completing this karmic cycle. When Saturn changes signs, we're always completing a karmic cycle, everybody. That's what it does. And the nodes are also there. And so I think it's a time we could jump timelines. It's a big tipping point. And for this full moon, it's kind of about figuring out our next step. Getting our downloads, digesting it, thinking about it, and kind of vibing up this next step. What's next? What's going to happen next? What's my next move? Finding your next move, and then by the solstice, be ready to really put it into action. Okay, everyone. Hey, thank you guys so much for everything you do, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. I love to read the comments. I do read, and I like when everybody joins in. I don't always reply to them all, but I do read them all, and I do enjoy it. I do have a Facebook page too, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. There's links below, and you can find it on my website as well. If you want to follow me on Facebook too. Liking, sharing, commenting, donating, all your donations are greatly appreciated. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have a great holiday season, and I'll speak to you soon.